first time I saw Mira, she was sitting alone on a park bench, staring at a wedding photo shoot happening a few meters away. Her hands were clasped tightly around a paper cup of coffee, and though she smiled faintly at the couple laughing by the fountain, there was something about that smile. It trembled, as if fighting to hold itself together. I didn't know her then, not even her name, but something inside me, some quiet, instinctive pull, made me sit on the bench beside her. She noticed me watching and looked away quickly. "Don't worry," she said with a small laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm not a stalker or anything, just someone who's late for a fairy tale." That line stayed with me. 3 days later, I saw her again at the university cafe. She was talking to a group of students, her tone sharp but polite, her eyes trying to hide something deeper, fear, maybe. That's when I overheard a girl snicker. "So this is the ex who got dumped by the golden boy?" Laughter followed. Mira's face turned pale, but she forced a small, proud smile and said nothing. I don't know what made me do it, but I walked straight to her table, pretending to scroll on my phone. "Hey babe, there you are," I said casually, slipping into the seat beside her. Everyone's heads turned. Mira blinked at me in pure confusion, her lips parting as if to speak, but I continued. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was a nightmare." Silence, then whispers. Mira caught on surprisingly fast. She leaned back, crossed her arms and said, "You're always late." The smirk she gave me could have fooled anyone, and just like that, the laughter died. The whispers turned into awkward glances. I walked her out of the cafe, expecting her to yell at me for interfering. But instead, she laughed, genuinely this time. "You've got guts," she said, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "But you also just started something we can't undo." Before I could ask what she meant, she added quietly, "They'll expect proof. You just became my boyfriend." If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected power of compassion, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindora Life. Your support keeps stories like this alive. It started as a joke. I told her I didn't mind playing along for a while, pretend dates, holding hands in hallways, walking her home after class. But as days passed, I realized it wasn't just her reputation she was protecting. There were moments she'd freeze when someone mentioned her ex's name, or when her phone buzzed late at night, and she'd quietly turn it face down. Mira had built walls, beautiful invisible ones. We practiced acting in the park on weekends. She'd say, "No one will buy it if you stand like a tree. You need to look at me like I'm the only person in the world." I'd laugh it off, pretending to take it lightly, but when I did look at her, the joke faded. The sunlight through her hair, the freckles across her nose, the way she tried to act fearless but her hands trembled when mine brushed hers. It wasn't acting anymore. One afternoon, while we were sitting under the old oak near the fountain, I asked why she agreed so easily to this fake thing. She stayed quiet for a long time before saying softly, "Because I was tired of being the girl people pitied. My ex made me believe I wasn't enough. When you stood up that day, I thought, maybe I could be someone again, even if it's pretend." I didn't know what to say. I wanted to tell her she was already enough, that she didn't need anyone's validation, but something told me she wasn't ready to believe that yet. So instead I smiled and said, "Then let's make this the best act of our lives." Weeks turned into months. Everyone at campus knew us as the couple. She became lighter, laughing louder, walking taller. I caught her humming while sketching in her notebook, something she said she hadn't done since before her breakup. But something in me began to shift too. Every laugh, every glance, every touch started feeling real. I'd find myself thinking about her when I was alone, wondering if she was eating, if she still stared at wedding photo shoots in parks. I told myself it was just empathy, but deep down I knew it was more. One late afternoon, after classes, she asked me to come with her to a small art exhibition downtown. Her paintings were on display. I had no idea she painted. When I saw her work, I was stunned. Each canvas was like a page torn from her heart. One painting in particular stopped me cold. It was of a girl sitting alone in a park, holding a cup of coffee, watching a bride and groom by a fountain. I turned to her and whispered, "That was the day I met you." She nodded slowly. "That was the day I almost gave up on believing in good people. Then some stranger sat beside me. That night after the exhibition, we walked along the quiet riverside. The air smelled of rain. She suddenly said, "You know, sometimes I forget it's all pretend." I looked at her, heart pounding. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. She smiled faintly, but then whispered, "It is, because when it stops, it'll hurt." The illusion began to crack when her ex, Aidan, returned. He was the kind of man who thought charm could erase history. He cornered her one afternoon near the cafeteria, saying he'd made a mistake, that she belonged with him. Mira stood frozen, her eyes wide, lips trembling. I saw the fear and walked straight up. "She doesn't belong to you," I said firmly. "She never did." Aidan laughed, his eyes scanning me. "You think this is real? Come on, Mira, tell him. Tell him it's just pretend like always." "That's what you're good at. Pretending." Mira didn't answer. For a moment I feared he was right. But then she took my hand, turned to him and said clearly, "It started as a lie, but it became the truest thing in my life." Aidan froze, and in that silence I felt her hand squeeze mine. After he left, she broke down crying. "He's not wrong," she whispered. "We did start as a lie." I knelt down beside her and said quietly, "Maybe the truth was hiding inside the lie all along." The next few days were quieter. We didn't talk much. She avoided eye contact, and our practice dates stopped. I missed her laughter. I missed everything. One morning, I found a note in my locker. It read, "Thank you for being kind when I didn't deserve it. You made me remember who I was. But I can't keep pretending. Not to them, not to myself." She was gone from campus that day. I went to the park, the same bench where I first met her. And there she was, staring at the fountain again, tears in her eyes. I sat beside her, just like that first day, and said softly, "So, is this where our story ends?" She shook her head, wiping her eyes. I thought walking away would make it easier, but it only made me realize something. I turned to her, heart racing. "What's that?" That maybe pretending to be your girlfriend wasn't pretending after all. I didn't speak. I just reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. The sun broke through the clouds, spilling golden light across the park. It felt like the world was breathing again. In the months that followed, our story became something people whispered about. How a joke turned into love, how two broken souls healed each other through something that was never meant to be real. Mira started painting full-time, and one of her new pieces was called "Practice Makes Perfect." It was of two figures sitting beneath an oak tree, sunlight dripping through the leaves, their hands almost, but not quite, touching. When I asked her why she named it that, she smiled and said, "Because we practiced love until it stopped feeling like practice." Sometimes life doesn't give us perfect beginnings. Sometimes it gives us jokes that turn into lifelines, coincidences that turn into fate. And sometimes love arrives not as a thunderstorm, but as a quiet stranger on a park bench. If this story touched your heart, even a little, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindora Life. Your support helps us keep spreading stories of hope, love, and kindness. Special request: comment "Love found its way" if you believe that sometimes the best relationships start as accidents that were meant to happen.